This is Dr. P.C. Verma, economics class. In this class today, I will discuss Indian Currency and Finance, a book written by John Maynard Keynes in 1913. This book of 1913, Indian Currency and Finance, is praised all over the world at that time because British economists consider John Maynard Keynes as a father of macroeconomics. Indian Currency and Finance in 1913 published by John Maynard Keynes, Cambridge. About this book, the Economic Journal of that period writes, the book is and is likely long to remain the standard work on its subject, while academic students will be grateful for this acute and informing work. It will be read with as much interest and perhaps even greater appreciation by men of business and affairs. The Spectator at that time writes, Mr. Keynes' careful and disinterested study of the monetary facts of 20 years, his methodological marshalling of facts and figures will be used even to those, and there will be probably be few who are not convinced by his reasoning. Another review, the Clear Market Review writes, by his really mastery treatment of the Indian currency system, Keynes has made a very valuable addition to our economic literature. I am glad to introduce John Maynard Keynes, father of macroeconomics. He published his book, Indian Currency and Finance, and he signed, this is the most important matter, he has signed the preface of the book on 12th May 1913. It is interesting to note that the Royal Commission, 1913, same year, his book was published in May 1913, and after that, it is interesting to note that Royal Commission of 1913 on Indian finance and currency. Indian finance and currency. Royal Commission was appointed by the Great Empire, British Empire, for Indian economy, for India House, and it was after May. On 12th May 1913, book of John Maynard Keynes was published, and its title was Indian Currency and Finance. Now listen, the title of Royal Commission, Indian Finance and Currency, just opposite. There is a difference of name. Keynes' book is written and published in 1913 May. Its title was Indian Currency and Finance. First currency, then finance. Royal Commission came to India to inquire about the finance and currency. So it is interesting to note that the Royal Commission of 1913 on Indian finance and currency offered a seat to John Maynard Keynes in the Royal Commission 1913 on Indian finance and currency. But the book Indian Currency and Finance was published earlier in May 1913. So it is wholly prior to the date in the labors of the commission. So it is interesting to find out this. John Maynard Keynes always writes in very detail, and facts and figure research work is very, very interesting, full of material. And he said that persons in India and abroad must know about the Indian currency and finance. And therefore, in that book, Indian Currency and Finance, he has discussed eight views. First view, in that Indian Currency and Finance of J.M. Keynes, the present position of rupee. Number second, the gold exchange standard. Number third, paper currency. Number fourth, the present position of gold in India and proposal for a gold currency I again repeat, number 4, the present position of gold in India and proposal for a gold currency. Keynes proposed that there should be gold currency in India. Number 5, council bills and remittances. Number 6, the Secretary of State's reserves and the cash balances. Number 7, Indian banks. Indian banks condition was discussed by John Maynard Keynes. And 8th, the Indian rate of discount. After writing this, John Maynard Keynes says that person who wants to know about the currency and finance of India before independence, then he must be known to the facts and dates and the personality came to India from British Empire for development of currency system in India, development of financial condition in India. That is, Keynes in his book writes a list of years that may be useful for the purpose of Indian currency system development. It is not easy to read everything, but it is easy to know and which year what events happen. So he has counted few years. Just see, this is all shown in my lecture class, printed available in the YouTube. But due to the technical error, sound could not sound system was a bit not working. So it was just literature. Therefore, I decided to talk about things so that when you read, you will be fully convinced that what should be the importance of that book. So in another topic, what I have discussed, that is in first part of Indian Currency and Finance by John Maynard Keynes. Second video is related to Indian Currency and Finance by John Maynard Keynes. Tells us about the useful years for the purpose of Indian currency system development. What was the useful year? Number first, 1892. 1892, Herschel Committee on Indian Currency. It is also of general knowledge for the economics student, especially when you enter into interview board, then your standard will be at India level. And in that case, Herschel Committee on Indian Currency, when was it established? 1892. Herschel Committee on Indian Currency, when was it established? 1892. This is one of the objective questions. An interview, they ask you, have you heard Herschel Committee on Indian Currency? You will say, no, I have listening from you. Sometimes they ask, and a student say, no, I don't. But for becoming the top class student, that I say that if you desire, you will be. I topped in the Bihar Public Service Commission lecturer test, and I got first position in Bihar and BPSC, and I was appointed as professor in economics, Patna University, Patna College. And my teacher also suggested me like that you must be prepared to answer whatever they ask. And you have a notebook, say on money, say on Indian currency, and some few dates must be there. So for that, I am forwarding this to my students who are listening my lecture, that 1892 is very, very important. Herschel Committee on Indian Currency. Our Indian currency was in silver, changed into gold exchange standard, such things, and finally paper currency notes. So Herschel Committee on Indian Currency in 1892. In 1893 is also important because Act was passed in 1893, closing all Indian mints to the coinage of silver on private accounts. Silver minting coinage of silver minted by Indian in a private account that was closed. So 1893 Act closing the Indian mints to the coinage of silver on private account. Notification by government fixing the date, fixing the rate at which rupees notes would be supplied in exchange for the tender of gold at the equivalent of 1 shilling 4 pence, 1 rupee. 1898 is very, very important in pre-independence period. That is Fowler Committee. In 1898, Fowler Committee on Indian currency was formed. Exchange value of rupee touched 1 shilling 4 pence. So we must remember first name, Herschel Committee on Indian Currency, 1892, and now 1898, Fowler Committee on Indian Currency. You will study my video of Gold Exchange Standard. There I quoted Fowler Committee. Fowler Committee was in favor of Gold Exchange Standard in India. So 1898 is also very important year in Indian currency system. Fowler Committee on Indian currency came in India. In 1899 Act declaring the British sovereign legal tender at 1 shilling 4 pence to the rupee. Next date is 1899 to 1903. That is negotiation for coinage of sovereign in India. 1900, Gold Standard Reserve instituted out of profit of coinage. 1904, Secretary of State notification of his willingness to sell council bills on India at uh, defined rate. 1905 Act authorizing the establishment of currency chest for earmarked gold at the Bank of England as a part of the currency reserve against notes, and the investment of a stated part of the currency and reserve in sterling securities. Next date is 1906. The notification withdrawn, which had directed the issue of rupees against the tender of gold as distinguished from British gold coin. 1907, Rupee branch of Gold Standard Reserve instituted. 1908, a sterling draft sold in Calcutta. 1910, Act rendering currency notes of rupees 10 and 50. In 1910, Acts rendering currency notes of rupees 10 and rupees 50 universal legal tender, and directing the issue of notes, the exchange of British gold coins. 1913, Royal Commission on Indian Finance and Currency arrived, and it offered one seat to John Maynard Keynes, who has written a book, and this has led to the development of the process from silver currency to gold exchange standard. We have already discussed and uploaded gold exchange standard. You will see it. Now, I again say that if you like my lecture, such type, only lecture material is previously uploaded, then such type of topic I can discuss for you in English or in Hindi, whatever you like. Those who like in Hindi medium, they comment in my video that I want in Hindi medium. I will discuss in Hindi medium also, because my objective is to help a student, and this requires the determination, devotion, and the willingness of the student. That whether I have seen in Bihar, English medium students are limited, and Hindi medium students are large number of students are Hindi medium. In my Patna college, there were English medium teaching. Later on, it was gradually changing into mixed English Hindi. And It is also a fact that everything must be read in Hindi also. So those who are interested, you comment it, only then I will do that. Thank you very much. You comment one line in this uh, lecture class. This is a lecture class, and video is different. In video means I speak less and write more. In this, I will speak only. So if we combine both things, we will be more benefited, because this is a period of interview for lecturer in Bihar and other states. I have been finding the information by students. So you must like it, subscribe it, and comment it.